blasting, billowing, bursting forth with the power of 10 billion butterfly sneezes.
This is Wine, Money, and Song. And if you want an insider's view of the wine industry, and if you're interested in learning about wines in different wine areas, please subscribe. For the last 2 weeks, Bordeaux has the Entrepreneur Week, and that's come and gone. And they've been selling the wines for about 2 weeks now. And not all the prices are out. Most of them are. I'm still waiting on Chateau Margaux's price. The other first growths who participate in futures were out at least a week ago to 10 days ago. I don't know why Chateau Margaux is so constipated. Yeah, come on, come out with a price. You've seen everyone else's price, so come on, cough it up. And as you know or you don't know, Chateau Latour does not partake in the futures campaign. They sell as they want to sell after they age it for a certain amount. And the whole idea of buying futures is to get the cheapest price, really. Hopefully to get the cheapest price. So first of all, I want to put something in your head. Who buys first growth Bordeaux's? Obviously wine drinkers do, right? But who spends $500 for a bottle of wine? And that'll be about the average of the 2023 first growths. And this is about first growths, this episode, whether you should buy first growths in 2023. And looking at the people who buy first growths, they have to be the 1%. If you buy 2 bottles, if you buy 12 bottles of first growths, you 3 bottles of this, 2 bottles of that, 3 bottles of that, it's going to cost $6,000. All right? And that's a lot of money. And who pays for that? How many people can afford that amount of money? And you have to think there's a lot of competition now in the wine industry, in the wine market, with expensive wines. Formerly Bordeaux used to be the whole futures market and the premium market, and it's not true anymore. Besides, Burgundy prices have gone crazy. Take a look at Italy with the Super Tuscans, with Sassicaia, with Onolera, and Tianello. Those prices are booking $300-$400 a bottle. And then you have Barolos and Barbarescos from Piemonte. There's a lot of things going on. And you have Napa Valley with all those really, truly expensive Opus, Dominos, not to mention Screaming Eagle. And there's hundreds of wines from Napa Valley that are $200 or $300 a bottle. And they compete with Bordeaux. And I don't know if Bordeaux has really thought about that too much. So I'm going to say what's going on in the market right now. But understand that Bordeaux first growths, especially, are luxury goods. They're not... how do you rationalize buying a Maserati for $300,000? You're buying it for the intrinsic value. And when you pay $500 for a bottle of wine, you're paying for the intrinsic value to a great degree and the history. People, used to say, is a $300 wine 10 times better than a $30 wine? And then the answer is no. It could be to you, but only if you have a lot of money, that you don't care about the money. And understand all of these Bordeaux's that are going for that amount of money, and Burgundies and the Napa Valley, it's all intrinsic value. It's a glass of wine, but it's like a car. How much faster can one car be over the other? How much safer can a car be? It's something that we do, and a part of it is called conspicuous consumption. I want people to know I spent a lot of money to buy my house, my car, and my wine. And that's what First Growth Bordeaux's are, a luxury good. Are they outstanding wines? Generally they are, and some of them are great. Right now, let's talk about the present state of the wine market. Right now, there's a lot of wine in the distribution channel. There's a lot of wine stuck in negociants, warehouses, in Bordeaux, auction sites, retailers. And why is it stuck? There's a lot of reasons why it's stuck, but the one major one is price. In 2022, the Bordelais decide to raise the prices of the futures in Bordeaux by 30%, 25 to 30%, and it was a big nothing. And I really think the wine-consuming public got pissed off at those prices, and they really didn't buy them. They really didn't buy them, and they stayed, and very few wines sold through. And what I see what's happening in the last 10 years or so, there's very little appreciation in the futures. This started back in 2009 and 2010 futures when there were very, very high prices. And they sold, but the values went down, and people got burnt. And they went down as much as 30, 40%. And it took 10 years to recoup that. So buying futures now, I don't know if there's appreciation in the near future. Markets change, economies change, but the global market is very depressed across the world. And I don't see prices going up. I only see prices going down. And these 2023s, they took huge cuts. I'm going to show you the prices later, but and they felt they had to start the movement of the goods, and I think First Growth took, they did the right thing, but I don't know if it's going to work because the wine consuming public is kind of pissed off, and they're full of wine, so. Should you buy it or should you not buy First Growth's in 2023 futures? We're going to get into that. First, I want to preface talking about the 2023 futures, the First Growth's. I've been in the wine business. I'm not in the wine business now. I'm on the periphery. But I was in the wine business over 4 decades, and I went through a lot of future campaigns in Bordeaux. My first really big one was 1982. And eventually I wound up working for the company who brought in like 90% of all the Bordeaux futures into the country. So I have a ton of experience of selling these wines commercially and buying them personally. And back when I started, the appreciation of Bordeaux was incredible. Especially the 1982s. The 1982s came out at one price, and 2 months later it went up 25%. When that tranche sold, then it went up another 25%, and within a year or so, it was double in price. Now that's happened on and off through a few decades, but it hasn't been happening the last 10 years. You can pick and choose certain wines that do it who get 100 points and they double in price, but those are becoming far and few together, and I want people to be very careful of the ratings. I'm not talking about the reviews. You should always read the reviews and hear what the wines taste like, the style of wines, and their profile to see if it matches your taste. But as far as the ratings, the numbers, everything gets 95. Everything is up there. And to me, wine reviewers are sort of an arm of the wine producers, that they're doing a lot of work for them, a lot of promotion with the actual numbers. Not with what they say about the wines, but with the numbers. I was watching someone on a rival channel that was describing, it was either Silver Oak or Camus, and he was trying the wine, and he said, wow, this is sweet, a lot of residual sweetness. It tastes like Swizzlers, the strawberry licorice, that you liquefy them and you drink it. And this wine tastes like Swizzlers. And he destroys the wine, and it sounds like a wine I never want to taste. And then he gives it an 88. And I says, what do you got to do to get a failing grade, a 60? What do you got to do? Was it going to taste like sludge? The ratings are way too high. And I think they have a contest to see who can rate wines higher than the other, because they're read first. If you have the highest rating, that's the first one they give, and they sort of have a rivalry with that. All right, so after I have my opinion about that, these prices are really low on the first growths generally. Let me just rattle off a few. And these are averages that I've picked up. Now, I haven't got Margot's price, but I think they're coming out. I think they're going to come out about $4.50, somewhere in that range. So I'm going to use that. And I still don't know why they haven't come out. But Mouton has come out at $4.42, the 2023s. And understand something about when you buy these futures, they're going to be delivered a year and a half and 2 years in advance. And with interest rates being at about 5.5 or so, that's going to add another 7, 8, 10% on to what it costs to own. Because if you bought 2020s or 2019s, they're in already. You don't have to hang your money up. You buy it and you don't wait. So you're going to have to wait for the 2023. So factor in another 8, 9% onto these prices, because you're going to have to wait, the cost of money. And it's Wine, Money, and Song. I'm worried about your money. It's your money. Do what you want to do with it. So the 2023 Mouton is $4.42, and the 2022s was $700. That's crazy. That's 58% difference. Now you're going to say, "Well, I should run. I should buy a case of it." I says, I don't see these wines appreciating in the near future, because the market itself is jammed with wines, and what these 2023s are going to do, the lower prices, and it follows right down the line. I'm going to go through them, but that's going to have a chilling effect on the prices of the older vintages. That, what are you going to buy? Are you going to buy at 58% cheaper, or are you going to buy that one vintage that's such a super premium? You're going to go for where the value is. And the value is in these 2023s, their values. Now, the vintage itself, it was a challenging vintage. A lot of mildew, and Merlot suffered a lot. And the Cabernets excelled, and a lot of the chateaus used a lot more Cabernet Sauvignon than they use Merlot regularly. And I see it through the lines of wines. But the one thing you have to understand about the Bordelais have their expertise in making wines now. They don't make bad wines. They make very good, excellent to great wines all the time. And it doesn't matter what nature throws in front of them generally. They found a way to handle hot, torrid vintages. And the 2023 is not a great vintage year, but a lot of chateaus really did a great job on taking what they had from their vineyard and making an outstanding wine. And each chateau stands out differently. There's no generalizations about the 2023s. But there's going to be a lot of excellent wines coming out of this vintage, but it's going to be from chateau to chateau. And you have to decide which ones are the ones you want to go for. And I'm going to show you the prices, but I'm going to go down just the other wines. Aubryon, the 2023s, $425. The 2022s was $700. That's 65% higher. The 22s are than the 23s. That's not a choice. That's not a choice. That you know, if you're going to spend that amount of money, you know, you're going to go for the much better value, which is the 2023s. Lafite Rothschild is $530, and the 2022s was $725. That's 37%, not as high, and Lafite always prices themselves higher than the other first growths generally. And as I said, Latour hasn't come out yet, but they're going to come out about $450. They're going to come out somewhere in that range. And at that price, the 2022s will be 67% higher. The Margot's at $750 for the 2022s versus $450. Is that a choice? You know, that's not a choice. And Cheval Blanc for the 2022s, the difference between $530 for the 2023s and $750 for the 2022s. Now, I'm going to give you all the information of the differences between the 2023s versus 22s, 21s, 20, and 19s. To sum this up, I feel strongly that this is going to be a very mixed reaction to this vintage, even though they cut the prices like crazy, and some of the wines are going to be very good. There's just too much wine out there. There's too much wine out there. There's still 15s and 16s at competitive prices that have bottle age. And the world economy, you've seen luxury goods starting to go down. And that's the last part of the economy that's affected, is at the top, but it is affecting the wine market now. And Champagne, the first quarter of 2024, is down like 17%. That's a lot. That's a very bad indication. So, and it's got to impact these wines. So take a look at the numbers I'm going to supply you, but don't think these wines are going to go up in price soon. I think the Bordelais has made the right choice with the first growths of lowering drastically. We'll see what the consumer reaction is. The only people I recommend to buy these wines is if you're new into collecting and you have the money, you have the discretionary income to buy it, is I would buy 2 or 3 bottles of all the first growths, put them away, just so you start in your collection. But if you're sitting on a ton of Bordeaux like I am, going back to the late 70s, I don't want to have to, because you have to sit on first growths for 15 years before you start really drinking them. You can taste them, but before they're really complex. So that's not viable for me, unless I think they're going to double in price, which I don't think they are. So only if you're new. Go out there, and I recommend you to buy them because they're at very, very advantageous prices. So be careful. Don't overdo it. But if you're new in the wines and you have the money, I think those wines are inviting, especially for the beginning collector. Good luck.